Hi, this is Vicki from Learning Home Volunteers, and we are doing a session on a series of books written by Mo Williams. Mo Williams has created these two great characters, Elephant and Piggie, that have the very same problems as our little learners. They are faced with some pretty big challenges and then lovingly work through them together. To keep the conversation going after the books, we've developed activities which augment the conversation with fun. In your boxes, you'll find a box contents for all the activities contained in the learning session. Each of the activities is numbered, like you're seeing here on the bag, and the materials for that activity are also numbered, maybe on the back. In these videos, we will refer to the activities number, and the material ideas will be on the slides, which as we would talk about them. None of these activity materials need to be returned except where indicated on the table of contents. In addition to the learning sessions activities, the family coordinator has chosen custom learning activities from our lending library. All of these have a label like this one that has a number on it and a description of the activity itself. For those with a choking hazard, you'll see a red dot like we see here, which will be on the label itself, and then on the pocket, like you can see here, which is typically found somewhere on the outer bag or the side of the box. Well, our first book about sharing an ice cream cone had me thinking about ice cream all the rest of the day. So in our first book, we thought, where can I buy some ice cream? And I thought, an ice cream stand. So in bag number 1, you're going to find everything you need to make and sell pretend ice cream, including a menu, popsicles, kinetic sand, which you can actually scoop onto the cones or into the bowls, and even coins to pay for your treat. This kind of play is called dramatic play, and this kind of play is so important because of the special learning that takes place in this kind of play. Dramatic play, first and foremost, helps with language development. Having an ice cream stand, you're going to obviously need 2 people interacting, some ordering and some fulfilling the order. More people is even better because it provides more language and the opportunity for different kinds of roles. So as the order is placed, the order taker will record what the patron wants, and then they will make the order and provide it back to the patron. During these interactions, you can be a kind customer, an impatient customer, a customer asks questions about the flavors, a customer who changes their order. All of these add more language and more opportunities to have a conversation. The next thing that children learn from dramatic play is how to act and control their emotions. They need to read the situation, what is appropriate for it. How to wait in line, how to wait for their ice cream, how to coordinate it with another to get their order right. So self-regulation is really important. Dramatic play also allows children to act out situations that they see in their life, or maybe even new situations. A child of this age don't think internally like you and I do about what's happening and how they can feel about it. Instead, dramatic play helps them practice exploring their own thoughts and feelings through action. Being in a world that includes different emotions surrounding all of those situations, like if they wanted to share their ice cream cone. So they get to explore those without actually having to experience the specific experience itself. Dramatic play also provides a place to practice skills which help them consider the perspective of others because they can actually play each role. This helps children be able to find solutions that help all parties in a conflict because they're able to look at the other child's perspective and be that person as they do it. And then finally, dramatic play supports literacy through exposing the child to functional print. This would be things like menus and signs in the play setting. This helps children help conceptualize words and concepts. And when paired with a book, they can use the materials to act out the situation we saw in the book. So let's move on to activity number 2. This is the ice cream relay. And in your back, you're going to find some paper cones that actually need to be glued together. We've folded them to make the gluing a little bit easier, and your glue stick should actually work just fine. Now that your cones are ready, you're ready to play our ice cream relay. Each child takes a turn uh, with the ball in their cone and then passes the ball in the next person in the relay until everyone gets at the end. Super fun. This is activity number 3, sand writing. And in your bag, you're going to find some sand and a plate with a little edge to help keep the sand in place. Sand writing is a great way to practice making marks that make up letters. So first you want to fill your plate with the sand. Feel free to put a piece of paper underneath the plate in case any sand gets out. That'll make it easier to round it up and put it back in the plate. The natural progression of writing goes like this. Children need to first learn how to make marks. And for making marks, it's just, basically making little lines or strokes. And as they get better, they'll learn how to make the marks and reproduce them. And as you can see, this learner is actually reproducing a line mark, but she's having a hard time figuring out how to do the up and the down. You can see she tried with a little uplift, but then getting it down, and all she could do was a curve. Making something small, remember, is harder than making something big. So if your learner is having difficulty making the marks that are in the examples, just try putting it in a bigger plate and see if they're able to control it that way. Now, when they've got the marks that actually can make up the letters, they can start trying to make letters. And I would normally start with providing a sample of the letter itself with a flashcard. Put it directly above the plate so that they can see. Each of the flashcards show the sequence of the marks so that they can try them, but I wouldn't force that. When you're providing an example of it, you always want to put the example above. When you put it next to it, like this is, it's really hard for them to try to transform that left to right. It gets confusing. So put it above. It's too hard to follow. Well, activity number 4, timer games, is about something our learners know very little about: time. And to help them get a sense of time, we've created a couple of tasks for them to try in a minute. And in your bag, you're going to find a timer like this one and a set of materials that we can use for different timer games. But we're also going to need you to track down your Unifix cubes and your alphabet cards because we'll be using them later in one of the timer games. So our first timer game, you're going to find a bag with little shapes. What you want to do is create a quadrant on a piece of paper, one for each of the shapes, and then turn it over and let them sort and see if they can finish sorting all the shapes under the time. Our next task is to find the letters of their name and put them in order as from the letters in the alphabet deck. So you want to narrow the letters down to obviously the ones in their name, plus a few others. I would start no more than 5 or 6 letters more than their name, letters that don't exist in their name, and then provide a clearly written name on a piece of paper that matches how the letters are written on the cards themselves, on the alphabet cards. And then turn the timer over and see if they can find them out of their alphabet deck. Finally, we've included a wind-up toy in your box. I know it seems silly, but wind-up toys are actually really great for the little muscles in our learners' hands. And we thought, especially since they don't always go straight, how fun would it be to see how long it takes them, how far could they race in the minute that we've allowed. So wind up your toy, and then let's see how far they go. And then you can use your non-conventional measuring device to figure out how far they went. Well, that's it for this week. And next week, another book and more fun.